Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to MentalShift. My name is Michelle Moross. I am your host. If you've stumbled across this podcast, you're like, who in the world is this Michelle person? Well, look me up. My name is my website, michellemoross.com. I'm an inspirational speaker. I teach people how to, get up on stage and do their thing and craft their message. I have a podcast and I'm an author of 2 books. But what my biggest passion is learning stories from other people. And I run into the most amazing humans on the planet through all social medias. They just always seem to find me. And I love to hear the stories of where they've come from, the mental shift they've had, and why they're doing what they do today and how they're giving back to the world. And today we have someone very special like that. I ran into him on Facebook through another little networking group that's on Facebook, a little, I don't know, but we ran into each other and we talked just ever so slightly. I'm like, get on the podcast. And so here he is. Please welcome Ryan Dunphy. And he's running the page on Facebook. So write this down. It's a page on Facebook called Adventurous Entrepreneurs Community. Did I get that right?
Right. Yes, it's actually a Facebook group, the Adventurous Entrepreneurs Community. Yes.
Okay. And well, Brian, why did you develop that and where did you come from? Because I love the stories that what made that happen?
Yeah, sure. Well, it was a very smooth paved path. I had a rich uncle that gave me, $4 million and a hug. And I just decided I'm going to take pictures of my Jeep and post them on Instagram and hang out on the beach. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for having me on, Michelle.
Bye.
Yeah, so it has really been an adventure. That is my big word in life. Life will always throw us curveballs, and we have an idea of where we would like to head. We have that North Star, but the journey is always an adventure. There's ups, there's downs. You stub your toe sometimes, and then you also have an opportunity to look at these amazing sunrises and sunsets and all kinds of different chapters. So if I could give you the 30,000 foot view as fast as I can, is that what you're interested in?
Do what you want to. We got
Okay,
30 minutes.
sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Northwestern New Jersey, and I decided to go to school for exercise science. So I went to Glassboro State outside of Philadelphia. And I realized very quickly after I got out of school that to do something in the health and fitness world, as well as support a family, I was going to have to do something very specific because personal training was not going to cut it. I did not live in New York City. I could not charge $200 an hour for a personal training session. So I needed to further my education. So I decided to go back, and in my time in corporate fitness, it was a wonderful learning lesson. But where I really had the rocket boosters and the clarity focus was when I was working for a hospital system in New Jersey. And as an exercise physiologist and fitness supervisor, I was able to oversee a team of fitness staff and personal trainers. But it was a wonderful position because I got to do a lot of this stuff as well. I was able to be on the floor with members, working shoulder to shoulder with the staff as well. And over the course of the years, I really saw a theme. So I had cardiologists sending me their patients. I had physical therapists sending me their patients. And I got my eyes opened to the amount of pain that could have been avoided. So much pain, so many injuries and surgeries and time and energy and money that could have very easily been avoided. And the more people I spoke with about, well, what landed you here? Like, tell me about your journey to having a knee replacement or a shoulder replacement, or after what happened with your cardiac event, what led up to that, or what landed you in, needing bariatric surgery, losing triple digits worth of body fat. And the amount of struggles these individuals have gone through was just amazing. And when I thought about all those people that I was working with and they were on the path and they were getting better, I kind of had this light bulb moment to say, all these people are in the fitness center taking action to fix the problem. How many people are not in the fitness center that are heading towards the problem, that are heading towards a huge surgery or a shorter life or an accident or an injury or not sleeping right? And the more I looked at it, and the more specific questions I asked different people, it was almost like my own little petri dish there. You know, I had people from all walks of life. And being a medically based wellness center, we had people right out of cardiac rehab, and then 5 feet across would be a different bike with somebody in a triathlon club. So we had the full gambit of everybody. And I realized that so many of these all boil back to how we respond to stress. So stress will come into my life, and it's, for so many people, either mismanaged or unmanaged. And then that persists, and it can create so many other negative impacts on their lives. So we have, you know, a random stress will come into our life, and some people choose to eat more. Some people choose to drink or smoke or do drugs or drive like not such a friendly person, or yell at their kids or yell at their coworkers. And then what I have noticed is, you know, the most critical area is those people get stressed out and they start losing sleep. How many people listening to this have had a stress come into their life and they start losing sleep? And then I know we have a lot of audio listeners. I'm doing finger quotes now. We need that 600 calorie huge shot of caffeine in a coffee. And then we start to crash. And then we need, finger quotes, another one. And then by the end of the day, we, finger quotes, need a couple glasses of wine or sleeping pills. And then we create this chemical storm in our body of not really being able to rest, of sleep being interrupted, low quality, not enough quantity. Because coming from a former Blockbuster employee, and we can get more into this when we talk about evolution, there's no end to one more episode, one more episode, one more episode, just another half hour, just another 42 minutes. And our sleep pays the price for that. So then I started to launch my own health coaching practice to help people take back control of their stress and better manage it and find some healthy outlets and simplify their lives a little bit. Simplification is so vital. Prioritization is so vital. Delegation is so vital. But we try to do all the things, do all the stuff, take on all the responsibilities. And when we don't take care of ourselves, nobody's getting the real version of us. You know, think about, you know, if you're a coach working with a client and you're tired or you're hungry or you haven't moved enough. Think about anybody that's listening to this that has kids. What are your kids like when they didn't get enough sleep last night? How are your kids when they are hungry? How are your kids when they haven't moved enough? We're just tall versions of that. We have the same basic needs, but we try to bypass those. And for so many people, you know, I work a lot now with entrepreneurs to help them outsmart burnout and outsmart overwhelm, because it's easy to do. It's easy to take on everything and try to complicate your life. And for some people, it's challenging to simplify that back, but it is possible. So over the years, moving from an exercise science background to seeing the impacts of stress on the human body, now for the last few years, I've been applying that to business as well. Because when we're not rested, we don't make good decisions, which end up costing us money and time and energy, or we make poor choices with our food. And then we're in the middle of an important call and it's, I gotta go use the bathroom. Or, you know, we don't properly hydrate, we don't eat the right foods, you know, our memory can be impaired. You know, anybody that's listening to this that's in sales, you need to be treating your body like a machine, because if you're not sleeping, eating, moving, and hydrated, it's hurting your sales numbers. And for some people, they're like, I can start to see what you're starting to say there. So
I was just talking about that.
okay.
Live at a conference, a virtual conference.
Yeah.
I said, you know, there's so many people out there doing, I'm doing mindfulness with the diet, you know, with a Coke in their hand, or, you know, and something else. I'm like,
right.
What you don't understand is when we're talking this, it's a whole package deal. It's not
right.
just you do one thing and everything's going to fall into place. No, it's
right.
that domino effect needs to go through. If you're feeding your brain, you must feed your body, and they kind of go together.
Right.
So if you fix your brain and you're doing mindfulness and you're meditating, well, you need to start feeding those brain cells. So you've got to take the crap out and put better things in. So it kind of domino effects. So
Absolutely.
if I am what you used to see in your line of work before,
Hmm.
because I was 389 pounds when I did my TEDx.
Wow. Okay.
Because I had a brain injury. So I have a traumatic
Yeah.
brain injury. And for 18 months, I did not move.
Right.
I just ate. And I put on, so for someone who was very, very fit and working out and did a lot of weights, to suddenly stop, I put on weight so fast because I wasn't moving anymore.
Yeah. No energy expenditure. Right.
Yeah. So when that all happened, when I started working on my brain, because I was working my brain back to finding where it was, because I lost memories, I lost a lot of
Yeah.
things, but I was working on my brain. And I remember the therapist doing, well, if you want your brain to heal, you need to feed it.
Right.
Yes, so take the crap out. You need to like whole foods. You need vitamins, and make sure you get in more water. And so I started that way. And when I started that, I dropped like 80 pounds just watching what I was eating,
Right.
just a little bit. And then as things grew, and then I found out I had breast cancer, I cut all sugar, all carbs, and I dropped another 120. And so now it's
Wow.
more of a lifestyle. So not
Yes.
only have I worked on my brain, and to keep my brain working well, I give myself some serious nutrition, and I'm very cognizant of what I put in my body now.
Hmm.
That in order to take care of my brain, I take care of my body, because what I found was if I don't take care of my body, my brain does not go anywhere. I
Right.
mean, I need my body to carry my brain in my mouth. That's my money maker, my brain in my mouth.
There
And
you go.
I had to take care of my body. And I remember at one point, I remember thinking, as long as I have my brain in my mouth, I'm good. I don't need the body. The body can go away. I don't care. And then when I got breast cancer, I'm like, I take it back. I take it
Right.
back. I want
Just
the
kidding.
body. Okay, the
Yeah.
body will stay. And I
Right.
promise I'll take care of it. And I've had the multiple surgeries. So I
Yeah.
went in for my double mastectomy, but because I was like 300 and something, 320, I might have been 320 at that point, because
Okay.
they had me drop weight so that they could do surgery without me dying on the table from the anesthesia or something like that. And so
Yes.
that's the first part of my
For the
weight loss, was
volume.
I had to do
Right.
it so I wouldn't die on the table. And then the
It's a good
next part,
motivator.
yeah, it was like, what do you mean I'm going
Yeah.
to die on the table? They do, well, we don't really say that often, but at your weight, we've got to put a lot of drugs in you to knock you out. And I'm like, what do I need to do to get it down enough that you may not kill me on the table if you knock me out? He goes, well, I'm not going to kill you. It's just, you're really iffy. Your blood pressure changes when we knock you out. And da 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 da. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it before my surgery.
Right.
And so it was weird to have a life and death situation force me to do what I've been trying to do all those other years.
Right.
And then when that happened, then they started cutting out other organs. So I don't think I had bariatric, but they did when I had my soft organs fused together, adhesions, and they
Okay.
had to cut a little bit out of everything. So
Wow.
basically
Okay.
I lost a little bit of my stomach. I think I lost the
Sure.
banana shape of my stomach because they had to cut
Yeah.
it all off. And then so I would have seen you if I was in New Jersey. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was in and out of the hospital every 6 months. Someone was chopping something out of me, but it was
Wow.
because I didn't take care of myself.
Right.
And I had to pay the price of going through all those surgeries to try to save my life. I've got 2 kids. I mean, I had to live. My husband's like, well, what about me? But no, I was worried about the kids. And
Right.
I had to live. And everything suffered. Everything
Yes.
suffered because I didn't take. I thought, honestly, I'm turning 50. People 50, it's natural to gain weight. It's not a big deal. It's a Diet Coke. I'll have a Diet Coke in the Big Mac. I mean, just you would compromise. And it was like, now that I look back on it, what was I thinking? I wasn't. I thought I was. And so to have all of that and to hear your side of it and to know my side of it, I'm like, I was, and now I am what you're working to, what you do. Because I've learned that life is an adventure. And in order
Yes.
to have a great adventure, you must be prepared for it.
Right.
So you can be prepared and spontaneous at the same time. And so
Yes. It's a healthy balance. Yeah.
it is. And so I've learned that, life is an adventure, and to look at it as a child would. You don't look at scary things, ooh, I don't want to do that. It's, maybe I might. I don't allow what our preconceived notions of our past are to determine what our future can hold. And I think that's really what the bigger thing is I never saw this person because I was told, like from all the old movies, like, Leave It to Beaver or whatever, those things, the woman gets at about 45, she looks like she's 80, she bakes pies all day, she doesn't have to do anything. No, she's not active anymore. She didn't even ride a bike. You know what I mean? So I had all these preconceived notions of what happens when someone turns 50.
Right.
And it's a lie.
Yep. One of my favorite personal training clients I worked with from age 95 through 100. She was one of the most amazing people I had ever met. Lived on a farm by herself, still, all the way until the end, and was just amazing. Sharp as a tack, still drove at 99, just amazing. But she moved. She had enough water every day. She moved. Work was never done on a farm. And she ate real food. It didn't take life too seriously. That's the formula.
Yeah, you don't stress out about everything.
Right.
My dogs are losing it. But no, you don't stress out about everything. It's like, there's 3 types of control in this world. There's my control, there's the other person's control, and there's the God in the universes. And there's so many times that the things that stress us out is because we're desperately trying to force someone else to not do what they want to do. You have no control over that other person. Let them go. You control how you deal with you, because it's your health, it's your life.
Right.
It's you.
Right.
And I see as a coach that I must practice what I preach.
Absolutely.
And you do too. We practice what we preach. I'm not going to say go do that and I'm going to go off and do the other thing. No, it's a way of life. It's an evolution of life. And you happen to be in the field that you learned it fast. Some of us had to get hit by a car and get cancer in order to figure it all out. And that's why it's important to have your message out, so that people realize that there's a better way.
Right.
To be more productive by working on the inside out.
Right. And if it's somebody that's off track, or they've been off track for 2 years, each start of the day is a fresh start. And there's going to be times where we're doing great. There's going to be times where we're doing not so great. But it's, what is that dynamic average? One double bacon cheeseburger is not going to make you obese. Also, one salad's not going to make you healthy. So it's that dynamic balance and being able to not compare yourself to others. The same goes for entrepreneurs. Don't compare yourself to somebody else that's 2 years ahead of you, or, has a team following them with video cameras to make, 5 social media posts every single day. And forgiving yourself is also important as well. And seeing where you're at and moving forward. I just talked to you a little bit about my background, but just a few years ago, I was 55 pounds heavier than I am right now, because I fell into emotional eating after the loss of our first son. And I know all this stuff. So I understand how easy it is to fall into these behaviors and get on that slippery slope, not sleeping enough, making the wrong choices.
Well, it's so easy to slip into it.
Right.
I mean, I went from fitness junkie to nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And it was so easy to do nothing.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was like, okay, I need to start moving again, that I'm like, why did I stop? This hurts. I mean, it used to not hurt. Now it hurts.
Right.
And what I found now is I do less and I get more out of it.
And you're focused, and it's that dynamic average as well. And I always use this analogy when I'm on a stage talking about this, or even talking with entrepreneurs as well, because your body needs to be that vehicle to do the work. Especially for solopreneurs that are listening to this, I kind of view it as the 4 tires on your car. That is you. One is movement, one is sleep, one is nutrition, and one is hydration. So if you have 3 of those dialed in and one flat tire, your car is going to be doing this.
Yeah, that's a bumpy ride.
Right. It doesn't matter if you're in a Corvette. If you have a flat tire, you can't go anywhere.
And see, I put it all on one wheel. So
Yep.
The wheel of your life. And then you have, your relationships. Everything's a spoke. And if you've got one or two off, that's what you're working on. You're working on all of it.
Yes.
And so you can't just say, well, I'm just doing this for right now. No, it's kind of all, you do it all a little bit at a time. So you don't have to say, okay, I'm going to cut all of this, or I'm going to start running marathons. No, you can break something.
Right.
A little bit at a time. And a lot of us, especially the solopreneurs, we don't have a lot of time. And so I always suggest to my clients, then if you don't have time in your normal day, one, you need to schedule morning time for yourself, block it. If anyone goes on my calendar, nothing starts before 9 o'clock because I'm working out before then.
Right.
So it's like, that's my time to set my brain, to set my pace, my day, everything. The days I do earlier and I'll let an appointment or two come in, wrecks my whole day.
Yeah, you have to start the day on purpose, and you have to take control of your time. Yes. One thing I have everybody, I work with is one of the first things we do is, how are you spending your time? And for anybody listening to this, a wonderful resource, Brendan Burchard's High Performance Planner, $15 on Amazon. It's like a game changer. 60 days worth of journaling and have an idea of where you are. It's a planner meets a journal at the same time. It's just a great tool. But what I'll have everybody do is to take 15 minutes every single day and do something that they want to do. And I came up with this a couple years ago, and I call it the 1% for number one initiative. So 1% of the day comes out to between 14 and 15 minutes. And I want everybody to protect 15 minutes for themselves. And if you can't give yourself 1% of the day, we're going to have a different discussion, but that's a good place to start. That 1%. That's really important. And this is not something that your husband wants to do, or your kids want to do, or your coworkers. It's what you want to do. And it's not 15 minutes to catch up. It's 15 minutes of doing something that you want to do. Whether that is going for a walk or sitting outside, just whatever floats your boat and whatever specific thing that lights you up, do that for 15 minutes each day. And the other 99% of the day is going to benefit from that.
Yeah, it's like
mega leverage.
What am I going to do for 50 minutes? Whatever you want. That's not checking email. That's not listening, to something else that's going to stress you out. Something to calm your mind and lift your soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's magic. I mean, I think that's what I started with. And now
it's a good place to start. 1% for number one.
So now I've got hours. I wake up at 5 in the morning, and I've got from 5 in the morning to 10 in the morning. That's mine.
There you go. But that didn't happen on accident. You got there intentionally.
Yes.
Right. You took control of your day, took control of your time, your priorities. That's great.
I had to have a brain injury.
Absolutely.
Got to take care of the brain. You need this puppy.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what do you do in the Adventurous Entrepreneurs Community? What do you do?
So I created this community, and I want to, give a shout out to Jake Ballantyne, because we're on the phone together because of him. He runs the Speakers, Authors, and Coaches Network, and I got to meet some amazing people through there. And I met Jake a few years back when I was just getting started as a speaker and a coach, and he has helped me in my life, my marriage, my business, everything. And, he's just an amazing guy. He's really focused on, building your online audience. Oh, yeah. And I am using his framework and his, model of, it's not the Jake show, it's the community. And that's what I'm doing as well for adventurous entrepreneurs. So those, fun, outdoor loving entrepreneurs. You don't have to drive a Jeep, have a golden retriever, and love hiking, but it doesn't hurt. If you check all those boxes, please send me a friend request.
I don't have either.
Yeah. But I also wanted to keep it broad enough, because everybody defines adventure differently. Everybody defines entrepreneurship differently. I'm not saying that this is only for people to go to Costa Rica twice a year, to go waterfall jumping and are an entrepreneur full time. There's plenty of people that view adventure as, each time I go out to eat, I'm going to try something new on the menu I've never had before. And that's something I encourage people to do as well, because, hey, we all tried pizza once for the first time. And for a lot of people, that worked out all right.
So I talk about that in my TEDx, Eat, Drink,
Oh, okay.
is I talk about, well, I told a story about my mother-in-law, but it's the differences between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. When you find yourself building your own grave, you need to step out. So basically, you always find a way to step out of your comfort zone. When you get so comfortable that you are on autopilot, you might want to shift something, because then you've gotten into a rut. And if you want to grow, improve, or move, or whatever you want to into another level, if you're doing the exact same thing, your brain says we are locked. So you have to do something to step out ever so slightly. As something as simple as don't put 2 sugars in your coffee, just put 1. I mean, just enough that your brain does, okay, that change didn't hurt. And it'll allow you to do more. And so that Ellen Glasgow quote, in the grave, I love it, because I'll say it to people that I meet and they're like, I don't know why I'm not doing this, because this is not happening and this is not happening. Have you changed anything? No, I right in the grave.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the
I want it, but I'm not doing anything.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not insane, but you're building your own grave. You might want to step out of that.
Right. So yeah, I'm building this community to help entrepreneurs take care of themselves. That is a big section of it. And, what I've seen over the last few years is there are a lot of people with a lot of amazing gifts and a lot of amazing businesses. But if not enough people know about what they do, then they're not going to be able to keep doing the thing that they love. So I want to help those adventurous entrepreneurs get out there. So we do a lot of cross promotion with other entrepreneurs that are in there. And this is, again, a lesson I learned from Jake Ballantyne of Jeff comes in to interview in front of my community, and he teaches whatever it is that he does, that obviously I qualify him. This is somebody else that's in the mastermind together. And then Jeff also invites me in to speak in front of his community about something that would serve them through that specific lens. So it helps to increase that exposure, and it fast tracks that know, like, trust. And just like we're doing right here, it's a discussion. It's way more engaging than just look at me and go on and on and on and on for 45 minutes of just, I don't want to talk at you. And that's what I talk about in all my speaking engagements to the corporations of, this is a workshop. We're here to work on stuff and interact together. I'm not here to talk at you. I have plenty of stuff on YouTube if you want to be talked at. And I believe once we come out of this coronavirus pandemic, that's going to be a lot of the focus, is going to be highly engaging workshops and intensives and hyper-specific activities versus just a general, I'm going to come talk at you for 90 minutes. Because we're seeing you can do that on Zoom at your own pace whenever you want, or on YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. But the experience, I believe, is what a lot of people are going to be after. And I will be creating quarterly events for the fellow entrepreneurs that are in here, that we're going to go somewhere fun. We're going to work really hard for 2 days on our businesses and on ourselves. And then we're going to play for 2 days. We're going to go zip lining up in New York. We're going to go whitewater rafting down in West Virginia. We're going to go play in Disneyland.
You're going to hike up Pikes Peak.
Hike up Pikes Peak. Maybe in a Mustang. We'll see.
Hey.
So, it's a community that I just feel so called to create, because entrepreneurial loneliness is a very real thing that not enough people talk about.
Yeah.
And coming from a health and fitness background, I was part of a team of 25 trainers where it's like, I want to give you a hug and when I see you. So, this is an extra tough time right now. And when I became an entrepreneur, I was like, well, it's just me. And, now I'm going to spend an hour saying, well, should I call a worksheet this? Should I call it that? How should I frame this? And then when I got involved with, Jake's group coaching program and Jake's mastermind, I was able to brainstorm stuff in a group again.
Yeah.
And it was people that were there to collaborate, not compete with each other. And that for me was like the rocket engines on my business. And I want to help share that with people like me that are feeling frustrated with lack of progress, that are feeling like they're alone, or they're feeling like not enough people know about what they do. We have these wonderful tools of technology. We just have to maximize them. And essentially, the smarter that we work, the more we can play.
Exactly. It's like I remember when all this COVID thing happened, no one knew what was happening. So I just kept going. And
Right.
what I found was I started overloading. I didn't
Yep.
realize how much I interacted with other people to relieve some of my brain space, and not to have that. I'm like, I think I might be going a little squirrely. And so I reached out to a friend. I said, you wouldn't have to be going squirrely too, are you? And he goes, I'm going squirrely. I go, okay, we need to talk because we need to change how we do things. I do everything in person. I do my
Right.
speaker boot camp. I do everything as workshops in person. I like
Right.
hands-on. And I had to shift my entire platform. Well, for someone who's a very kinetic mover, to do everything virtual like this, I had to move to a visual training. And it's like,
Right.
how do I? And so I had to find someone who could help me shift that, because
Yeah.
my brain would not allow me. I could see it in my head, but I wanted to move, and I didn't know how to even change the language so I could walk someone through my program that's normally physical
Mm-hmm.
in a virtual space. It was a huge learning curve for me, but exciting at the same time. It's an adventure. I see it as an adventure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I rebuilt my home office into a studio from home so I can teach without travel. A standing desk for some, yep, there you go. Wonderful background. I'm at my parents' house right now using a old bookcase as a standing desk
Well, in
because my energy is better. My voice is better. My creativity is
my
there when I can
desk
move.
actually raises up.
There you go. You have a
It is.
Varidesk. That's a great tool. Yeah.
I love it.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And in the spirit of it being done, not perfect, if anybody is listening to this that says, well, I have a desk and it works fine. I went down to Lowe's for $11 and got 4 big cinder blocks and put a lift kit on my desk because I didn't want to replace the whole desk. And especially right now, I'm not seeing people at home. So as long as my wife doesn't mind looking at some cinder blocks, we're able to keep working.
You can spray paint.
Um, yeah, we could spray paint
I have
them.
a
Yeah.
friend. I have a friend who has his treadmill. He's got his treadmill set up under his desk, and he
Yep.
raised everything. So he's on his treadmill walking as he's
Those
doing
are
all
wonderful.
the work.
Yeah.
You are gifted. I don't think I
Yes.
could walk and talk and do all that all at the same time. So I'm quite impressed with him. But
Yes.
yeah, there's other ways. I mean, when COVID first hit and I moved my office into this space so that I would have a quieter room for
Right.
recording, because I used to drive to a studio. And so now I
Mm-hmm.
made this into my studio. I sat on an exercise ball,
Yep.
which is kind of nice. But I'm fidgety, so I kept
Yes.
kind of doing this. So I had to stop. I had to get rid of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always moving my leg up and down. I can go up on the side of the cinder block. That's wonderful. And I think we're really going to see a lot of things evolve like that after we get through this chapter that we're in right now. We're going to see that people can work remotely. And there are different ways of doing it. Just because we did it one way for a long time doesn't mean we have to always do it that way. Um, I am in the process right now of narrowing down the decision and the numbers. I'm either going to be buying a camper trailer to tow behind my vehicle, or I'm going to be building one from scratch. And I'm going to take the concept of a tiny house into a tiny office. And I was in a co-working space a few days a week before this because I have a 4-year-old that loves Legos. And I am a real tall kid that loves Legos as well. And there's nothing louder than a bucket of Legos being dumped out. So I didn't have the self-control to say,
No.
so I would go and play with Legos, A lot of it's for me, but getting out of the home is really powerful for your mind because
Yes.
you have that shift of, well, now I'm in work mode. But when everything is together and we're spending all the time together and we're spending all the time at home, it can get stressful and get frustrating. So I see a lot more people that are working on the back deck. We're going to see a whole industry converting sheds into offices at home.
Yes.
We're going to see a lot more stuff like this. And, it has also shown me that I can be super lean with my business. I can have very few expenses and still do the work. So I think we're all going to have an opportunity to evolve through this and
I
after this.
love it. Everyone's having mental shifts all around the world.
Big time,
And,
big time. And
and
that's a lot of like when I went to launch this community, because so much of what I was focused on in the corporate space, working on stress reduction and time management for profitability, it was the main focus was too much stress costs you your health, your happiness, your time, and your money, which is true. But I realized that when I wanted to create an online space all about moving forward and being adventurous and taking care of yourself, working for yourself, I wanted to shift that from, instead of the away from the pain of too much stress costs your health, your happiness, your time, and your money, I wanted to focus more on the smarter that you work, the more you can play. Because at the end of the day, we all want to play. And everybody has a different version of that, whether it's a beach
some of
house
us
or
aren't working because we love what we do, so we still
right.
play all the time.
Right. There's a beautiful synergy there. And I want to leave it just open enough where people can put their own definition to it. And I want to help people to create a framework that, will be a little bit more time efficient. Maybe it's a little bit more profitable. Maybe it's a little bit more focused. So that way it isn't stressful and they don't come to hate their businesses. Because all of us that are entrepreneurs, we started our businesses for the most part for 3 reasons. We wanted to have some control of our time, for it to be profitable, and to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people lose one or more of those things along the way. So I feel like I'm on a mission to help people either reclaim that or start fresh and create a life and a business that works,
That you love.
that you love, and it helps other people, and it's a win all the way around.
So
So that's been a shift for me.
So think about this, everyone. As go join Ryan's group, the Adventurous, and I was just teasing him about, I can't even say this word, Adventurous Entrepreneurs Community.
Yes.
Right?
And it's okay. Most of us can't even spell it. We just bully through the typing and let the computer fix it.
It's like adventurous people who do things on their own community.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
But find the joy in what you do. Find some play in your day, because that
Absolutely.
will ignite your brain to become more creative on how you approach problems. And that's what Ryan is talking about, the moving and being more efficient, because when you're more efficient, you have more time. When you have more time, you can do what you want. And
Right.
so when we've all been in this space, one of the biggest things I've seen are people get so locked in their jobs that they're like, oh, I'm here all day so I can work from 5 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night. No, you must schedule time for yourself to move, to eat right, to do things that you love so that you can feed your soul enough that you can do the next thing. So be
Right.
more tight on your time now that you've been stuck at home for so long. Now,
Right.
Ryan, we are almost out of time. So what words of wisdom would you like to share with the community?
Sure. So I would recommend, in the spirit of what you just said, I'm going to share. Actually, I'm due tomorrow. I have blocked out the entire day and I am taking the day off. And I use all capital letters because I don't even turn my phone on. I don't look at email. I don't look at Facebook. I don't take any phone calls unless there is a massive medical emergency in the family and we need to go to the hospital. I am doing whatever I want tomorrow. And it is wonderful. I did this early March, right before all this hit, and I can still pull energy from thinking about that day because it was so amazing. I ended up going hiking with some friends, went out to lunch. I organized the garage and cleaned my car. It doesn't have to be a big extravagant day off, but it was so powerful to be intentional on every quarter. Treat yourself to one day. You have to take care of yourself. And my decision making was much better for weeks after that. Something as simple as one day off.
One
Sleep
day.
in a little bit, do whatever you want for one day. You as the entrepreneur, if you don't have PTO, you need to factor in some protected time for yourself and make it work. So yeah, that's what I would say, for anybody that's listening to this. The 3 big things I focus on is prioritization, simplification, and delegation. Whatever you can delegate out is wonderful. Whatever you can simplify in your life, think about, do I really need to spend money on this thing? Do I need to put my energy in this area? And the more and more people that I've interacted with in the last few years that are on the very successful end, they're very good at declining. They're very efficient at declining.
Yeah.
And they've learned that because not only is it a win for them, it's potentially a huge win for that person that's asking for help, because now they're going to go find somebody that's an even better fit. And that's a distinction that I just learned recently, but it's very powerful.
Say no.
Yeah.
Time, schedule it.
Right. Right.
And for those of you who are listening, if you're seeing or hearing value, please like, share, subscribe, pass it on to another friend, because there's a community on Facebook just waiting for somebody to click and say, hey, Ryan, let me in.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram. If you type in Adventurous Entrepreneurs, you will see an individual with a sunset, and it's Indiana Jones font. I had typed in adventure font when I was creating all the branding, and Indiana Jones font was the first thing that came on. So I said, this is perfect. This is in great alignment. So we're on Instagram as well as Facebook. And yeah, Michelle, I just want to acknowledge you for being you. Thank you for sharing everything. And you know, rising tide lifts all ships. So thank you for bringing some positivity to the world. We need it right now. Yes, especially right now.
Yes. And I will join that community, even though I don't have a Jeep.
That's okay. Where everybody's welcome. You define adventure differently, and everybody does.
I like doors. Okay. So everyone, I'm in Colorado. You would think I would have a Jeep. Thank you for joining me today, Ryan. I'm so glad to finally actually see your face and hear your voice. Yes. And for those of you who are out there and listening and watching, share and join the community. I'm going to torture the word again. Adventurous Entrepreneurs Community on Facebook.
There it is.
And Instagram, and we'll see you there. So be the best version of you. Remember, be unapologetically you. Go find the best in you. Find joy, find adventure, and let's rock this joint, right? So have a great one, everybody, and until next time, we'll see you then.